In this lecture, we're going to talk about privacy, and I think we need to start out with looking at what privacy really is. And here's one of the definitions. It is the state or condition of being free from being observed or disturbed by other people. It can also be the freedom from unauthorized intrusion. And there has been the last 10, maybe 20 years, a lot more laws that focus on people's right to privacy. And yes, privacy is a human right. And in a later section, when we look at laws, we're going to look at the ones that cover privacy as well. And privacy is one of the things that many big companies struggle with. For us to sell our product better to our customers, we want as much possible data about them, but that may not be legal. In most places, we can gather enough information to do whatever we are doing, but we are not allowed to gather anything else. And where privacy is everything, what we most often focus on is PII, Personal Identifiable Information. And PII is anything that can be used to identify you. In the US, we have sort of a patchwork of laws and regulations that protect PII, but it doesn't really have an overarching vision. It's just something breaks bad enough or gets enough attention, then we make a law for that area. Whereas on the other hand, the European Union have great privacy laws. And there's very strict regulation on how companies can gather, store, and use data. Much of what companies do every day in the US is illegal in Europe. And it becomes more of a challenge because many companies are multinational. They offer exactly the same products in Europe as they do in the US and elsewhere in the world, which is also why you probably have seen so many lawsuits against Google or Apple or Microsoft, because of the strong privacy protection that any customer living in the European Union have. And this has, in some cases, helped the privacy of people in other places in the world. Since those large companies realize they have to be in compliance with the laws and regulations in the EU, it's easier just to apply the same standards across the organization. Alright, let's go back to PII. And that was the Personal Identifiable Information, which is what we can use to uniquely identify, contact, or locate a single person. It can be something as simple as your name. It doesn't have to be, but for me, Thor Peterson, it probably is. My name is unique enough that you may be able to find me just using my name. But just for this lecture, I went and looked up how many John Smiths there were in the United States. 44,900. Meaning if your name is John Smith, it's probably going to be pretty hard finding you just based on your name. But obviously, your name is not the only thing we can use to identify you with. That can be your national ID number, the number on your driver's license, your IP address, and the IP address is the address that you use on the internet. In most cases, it is unique to you. It can also be the license plate on your car. It can be anything that's biometric. Remember, that's type 3 authentication. We already talked about that. Fingerprints, palm prints, handwriting, anything that is completely unique to you. It can be your credit card number, any digital identity that you have, your birthday, your birthplace. So really, it is a ton of things. And as an organization, how much of that we can keep is determined by the laws where we do business or where our customers are. It doesn't matter that our company is in the US if our customers are in the European Union. Now on the exam, you may see a scenario where they mention something about PII. Then you knowing my IP address or my name or my license plate could be something that could be used to identify me with. That should help you answer that question. Another thing that's big in the discussion right now with privacy is how much does the individual's right to privacy supersede the nation-state's need for security? And that's part of the discussion. Are there certain rights that we are okay to give up to be more secure? And I'm not going to tell you what's the right answer here. I personally think it's a slippery slope. The more of our right to privacy we give up, the harder it's going to be to get back later. And that's kind of the trick with technology, right? We can gather so much information on anyone, but we can also use the technology to protect privacy. Which way we choose to go depends on where we are and what the purpose is. So to recap, privacy is a right, and as cybersecurity professionals, our balancing act is to keep enough information for whatever we are doing while still respecting the data subject's privacy. If the customer is in the US, we can collect a lot more, whereas if they're in the EU, we can't really retain anything unless it is necessary to do whatever we do. And in the EU, customers can request to have their data deleted, or they can ask to see which data we are keeping on them. And again here, this comes with some exceptions. Some things have to be kept for law enforcement. If it's a credit card statement, the customer can't call in and ask us to delete the statement if we're the payment card processor. We have to have proof of the transaction. But outside of that, people living in the European Union have much stronger privacy protection compared to most of the rest of the world. And then, of course, most of the privacy we talked about in cybersecurity is PII, anything that can be used to identify you. Your name, your ID card, your license, your IP address, your home address, your car's license plate, something that by itself or in conjunction with other PII can be used to trace back to you. And with that, we are done with this lecture. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.